Hey team, Lawrence here. Welcome back to the AIRTOC demo series. In this video, we're exploring an essential deliverable in the project closure phase, the transition plan. Let's go. This document ensures that when the project ends, the product, service, or output is successfully handed over to the operational team or business owners without disruption. First, we'll cover what the transition plan is, why it's important, and how it's used in project management. Then we'll walk you through a live AIRTOC demo so you can see exactly how to generate a transition plan using the Aimpm project management coach. Let's dive in. As always, we like to start with the PMI definition. According to PMI, the transition plan is a comprehensive document that outlines the activities required for successfully moving from a current state to a future state. It's based on readiness assessments and transition strategies that covers various aspects to ensure smooth integration of a solution into the organization's operations. This is a fairly good definition, but as always, we like to go a bit more in depth, so let's take a look. From our perspective, a transition plan is the formal document that explains how the project outputs will move into an operational state at the end of the project. The transition plan defines what's being handed over in terms of the deliverables, who's responsible for the handover, what knowledge or documentation must be transferred to operational teams, what operational processes need to be prepared before the transfer, and how support, maintenance, and ownership will continue after closeout. This is essentially the readiness assessment that PMI referred to. The transition plan ensures your project doesn't just end, but it lands safely. It's part of your closure process. And remember, you shouldn't close out your project until all of your closure elements are in place. This is just one of them. The transition plan is essential because it ensures continuity after the project closes, it prevents operational confusion or downtime, it clarifies who owns the product after moving forward, it documents maintenance and support expectations, it reduces the risk of post-launch failures, it ensures teams are trained and prepared, and it protects the organization from knowledge loss. Some projects fail after delivery because the receiving team wasn't ready. The transition plan eliminates that risk by making handover a structured and predictable process. So now you understand that transition plans play a major role in closing out the project and transferring over the work. But how does that actually happen? To make this work, the PM needs to coordinate with operational teams, support teams, and sometimes the end users. That coordination may require some training to ensure that people are ready for the handoff. Sometimes this aspect is overlooked during execution, and it comes back to bite you later. Don't let this happen to you. If people need to be trained prior to the handoff window, and you'll avoid this issue. If the PM has coordinated things properly and trained up resources, they can easily move to deliverable acceptance. From there, they can transfer ownership and close out tasks related to the transition, and this puts you one step closer to project closure. Now that we've reviewed what a transition plan is and how it supports successful closure, let's walk through how to generate one using the AIRTOC framework. I'll switch over to the live demo and build the transition plan in AIRTOC step by step. Let's go. Okay, folks, before we get started, there's a few things to note. Number one, for sake of time and simplicity, we will be using simulated minimal data. In real projects, you'll probably use a lot more context here inside of your prompt. Number two, even with simplified data, you'll still be able to see how powerful AIRTOC prompts can be. And remember, the more context you add in, the better your output is going to be. And lastly, this process applies to every single AIRTOC template in the textbook and your AIRTOC library. The workflow is universal and repeatable across all deliverables. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so as always, we want to give you guys an overview of what is part of the demonstration before we actually go into it. So beginning at the top, we have the AIRTOC template transition plan. And again, you can find this in your AIRTOC library or your textbooks, but it includes the entire framework and the template broken out here. Below that, we have a real world scenario, which will feed information into our actual prompt that we're going to use inside of the Aimpm project management coach. So again, this is the simulated data. We're going to take that data and feed it into the Aimpm project management coach so that you guys can see the output. Let's go. So starting with the AIRTOC template for the transition plan, we still have the entire framework for AIRTOC here. So we have the AI platform, the role, task, and output, as well as your context, which is broken out into two areas. Below that, you have AI produces, which gives you an example of what AI should produce once we're done filling in the prompt. So circling back to the top, We have the AI platform, which is going to be Gemini or ChatGPT for this prompt. We have the role, which is the project manager or operations manager. Our task here is to develop a transition plan that defines ownership, support requirements, and timelines for handoff. And the output is a documented roadmap ensuring seamless transfer of responsibilities. Again, our inputs for context is very high-level information that can come from our project charter or other source documents. This includes your scope, your baseline problem and goal, your constraints, your risks, and your stakeholders. And below that, we have some data that we recommend you also add into your prompt, including deliverable data, ownership data, support data, timeline data. So if we feed the AI all of this context for our transition plan, is going to be able to deliver exactly what we need. Let's move down to the scenario. Now, our scenario says, with the 10.6 go live approaching, operations require clear ownership for all automated workflows post-deployment. IT support identified gaps in training on AI validation, SLA routing, and troubleshooting procedures. The vendor confirmed the shift to standard support 2 weeks after launch, which required defined escalation paths. Internal audit required named owners for audit logging and compliance controls prior to the Q4 audit, and governance instructed the PM to create a transition plan to ensure operational readiness and prevent service disruption. So that's our scenario, that's our charge. Let's take a look at the template now. So for our AI platform, role, task, and output, these are going to remain the same as they were in the template above, but now we have additional context and data inputs, right? So now we have our actual defined scope, our problem and goal, our constraints, our risks, and our stakeholders here, all filled in based on the context above. Next to that, we have our data inputs, which include deliverable data, ownership data, support data, and timeline data. And you may need to bring in additional documents that are outside of the normal query. So copying and pasting information in or dragging entire documents into the prompt is going to help build this data input context. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this in. Again, minimal set of data, no additional information added here. We'll just copy and paste this into our Aimpm project management coach, and we'll hit enter. Right, and this should produce a transition plan for us. All right, AI thinks a little bit, which is always good to see. And then it starts to break out our information. So this is our enterprise workflow platform, transition plan roadmap. We're going to get an executive summary at the top, transition objectives, scope of transition, the ownership model. Okay, so we have one for the business, one T for IT support. We have one for vendor ownership. And then we break out into section 5, which is support boundaries and responsibilities. We have some SLA requirements. We have a cutover plan, all right, which is broken out into 3 different sections. So pre-cutover, cutover activities, and post-cutover. Then we also have a stabilization period, weeks 3 to 6. Fully operational handoff period, which is on 11/15 according to our plan. We have an escalation path here. We have training and readiness plan here. We have key risks and mitigations here. Number 13 is transition timeline summary, final deliverable roadmap design, right? So it breaks everything down here. And then it gives us, of course, some next step options, which would be to draft a RACI for all of these components, an operational run book, support escalation flow diagram, you name it. There's lots of different options that we can use based on the information that we have here. This is a fully functional transition report that you can copy and paste into a Word document and make a few updates to. Based on the context that we've given AI, it's able to break out an entire transition report. It would take this information, elaborate on it if you need to. So for example, if I wanted to get much deeper into, let's say, the scope of transition, okay, I can ask AI to do that. And this is the small iteration that you may need to do. But based on the context that you've already given it, you don't need to keep adding in information. We can just simply ask for it to expand on this point. Okay, so we'll show this as the last example. Expand on this section. Okay, and I want to make sure that I have that copied and pasted in. So I'll copy the scope of transition and I'll paste it in. And the AI will give us a much more detailed explanation in terms of what needs to happen within that section. Okay. So it's just going to expand it out, give us a lot more detail. And if it's thinking, that's okay. You know, sometimes these slower outputs is because the AI is really considering what it needs to put into this actual section. So scope of transition, and as you can see, it's going to break this out in a much more detailed fashion, which is what you're seeing here. So depending on the level of detail that you need for each section, for each report, once you get the AIRTOC prompt implemented and you put it in and you get your initial information, it's going to give you a lot more and you can dive a lot deeper if you need to. This shows the power of AIRTOC from top to bottom, and we've shown it in every single example that we've given you guys here. You can take a minimal amount of information based on the templates that we've given you and produce a fully functional 80 to 90%, maybe sometimes 95% complete document that you just need to iterate and add a few pieces to in order to have a final artifact ready to go, show the leadership, and get things done. This will save you hours and hours and hours of time, and that's really what these AIRTOC templates do. They save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of frustration, a lot of back and forth between documentation. All you need to do is add it all in, and you'll get the result that you're asking for. So being that this is our last demonstration on AIRTOC templates, if you have any questions, if you need to review this again, feel free to go back through every single video so that you can get a really good idea of how you should be drafting these things. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you answer those questions. But until next time, we're getting ready to gear up on a lot more videos and a lot more information that we're going to share across the board from everywhere from our site to our members area to our YouTube channel. Okay, so look forward to that. It's going to be a lot more to come. We hope you guys enjoyed these demonstrations, and we hope you take something away from this that you can take today and put it into your workflows to see a better result in terms of what you're doing for your projects. Once again, this is Lawrence. Thank you guys for all of your time, and we will speak soon. Take care.